Well,
Yeah,
let's do it.
I have a couple of questions from my 10-year-old daughter.
Yes.
And the first question from Munchie is, if you could be a dinosaur for a day, what dinosaur would you be?
And again, I apologize because I would have loved to have done a bit of research, but so I don't know the names, but I know that there's these little ones that fly. So
Pterodactyl.
I think so, but there's a couple different kinds, and there's one that's again I didn't have time to Wikipedia, but I imagine that there's some very agile flying ones. We can call it pterodactyl for her for Munchie if you'd like.
Yeah. I think if Munchie was here, she could probably tell us. She's
Okay,
much more clued up on dinosaurs than I am.
fantastic.
And she'd like to know if you have any pets.
I don't currently have any pets, but when I was growing up, I had pet mice, and I had two cats. One when I was little, one when I was an adult, and both of them were like my babies.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Munchie has a Dalmatian puppy.
Mm,
Yeah.
she must love that.
Oh yeah, yeah. The puppy is like a dog version of my daughter, so you can imagine how much fun it is at my house.
It must be very fun.
Continuum that you're in, politics of
Right?
time.
Yes.
It's pretty hard to tell whether your character Heather Martin was a good guy or a bad guy. What's your take on her agenda?
That's a really good question. Well, originally, it was written that the audience is supposed to think that she's an obvious suspect, and then
Mhm.
at the end it's revealed that she's not, as because the cut was not on my arm. But what
Mhm.
you see at the very last moment when I get into the car with Kagame,
Mhm.
that it's possible that I was actually involved. Now,
Mm.
to the level of which I was involved, has yet to be yet to be revealed. So, and that was actually that final point was added when I was on set.
Wow.
That was sort of ever changing process. So when I was there, um, they said actually instead of your husband getting in the car with Kagame, you're going to get in the car with Kagame,
Wow.
which not only and introduce them. So that implies that I set them up and that I knew about the money all along. So that is my take. Is that I go from being a goodie to a baddie to a goodie to a baddie.
Well, it's good to be flexible, I guess.
Yeah, but I think her agenda is that she wants her husband to win, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to get there, which I think explores an interesting question of, what does it mean if we're willing to do whatever it takes to get something?
Mm.
What does it mean if you believe the ends justify the means? So that's my question for the audience.
I was told that this could be a recurring role. And if that happens, how would you like to see that character develop?
Um, I'd like to see. Um, I'd like to see her have that struggle, that sort of ethical struggle we just talked about. I'd
Mhm.
like to see more, more of an involvement with, or like I guess more of a discovery of what it means to participate in politics or in society in that way. Um, I really have no idea what they have in store for her. I'm just happy to be a part of the project. It's a really, really good show. You've been watching the show,
It's fantastic.
isn't it
I
great?
really, really like it. I like that it's original. There's a lot of sci-fi. It's just reworked and reworked.
Yeah,
Nothing new. So I'm quite thrilled with this one.
I'm totally thrilled with it too. And one of the things I really like about it is that it's shot in Vancouver, and a lot of things are shot in Vancouver, but they're made to look like other cities.
Yeah.
And Vancouver, highlighted as Vancouver, is beautiful. It's got wonderful landmarks. It has incredible architecture, and we're not pretending it's not that. So it's really nice.
It's wonderful. I mean, a lot of the shows that I've liked in the past have all been filmed in Vancouver, and it's the locations are just visually stunning.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Okay, my friend Angie, who co-runs We Love TV with me, she'd like to know what it was like working with the cast and crew of Continuum.
It was a dream job actually. I There was a moment where I looked over to Tomo, who plays my husband, you must know Tomo from other sci-fi stuff,
Yeah.
Battlestar and whatnot.
Yeah.
I looked over at him, and it's been a while since I've done film and TV. I've been working on other projects, producing and doing voiceover, and I said to him, I forgot how much I loved acting. And Tomo said to me, well, this is a unique experience with great actors, a great script, and a great crew. And I was like, oh, right. Because it's rarely all of those things.
Mm.
And the showrunner, the executive producer, Simon Barry, is like an actor's director, or an actor's, have you ever heard the term an actor's director or an actor's producer? It's like they're like very actor friendly, and same with the director, Pat Williams, I believe his name was. Both of them were super open to suggestion, and like it was a very collaborative process. I felt like they were open to what I wanted to bring to the table. Tomo and I took some time outside of being on set to do character development and to talk about what we wanted to bring. Made a backstory for our characters, stuff that you don't normally get a chance to do, because Tomo and I are friends outside of Continuum. So I called him, and said, I think we spoke on set and said, let's do the work on this. Let's make this really good. And I think that comes through. I think our history comes through.
I think it's great chemistry. It's fantastic. Very believable.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, so how did you get into acting initially? Because you were rather young when you started out.
I did. I've been performing since I was a little kid. My parents had me in all sorts of artistic expression, dance class and drama and all sorts of different creative outlets. I didn't start acting professional. Well, I guess I acted in high school. I acted in my high school program, drama program, and then also in a program called the Jewish Young People's Theater. I'm half Jewish, so my parents put me in that, and that was wonderful. I had an incredible mentor there. And then I went to theater school in Montreal, and I did 4 years of theater school, and didn't have the greatest experience there. I found that I wasn't really getting the opportunities to act, so I went and got an agent. My boyfriend at the time was acting in film and TV, so I sort of followed his lead, got an agent. By the time I graduated theater school, which is when most people are starting out, I had already had enough credits to have a film reel, enough credits to get an agent when I moved back to Vancouver, and so like I was pretty set. So then I spent a lot of years kind of not really getting to where I wanted to get to, and then I broke into voiceover, which has been an amazing addition to my career. And now I'm at the point where I am producing and I'm involved in other projects, ethical arts, which I'll mention in a minute. And so those things are more meaningful to me, where I don't just take any acting job that's presented. I like to be very specific about what I take, and not necessarily because I'm famous, which I'm not. I really am not. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm so famous I can pick whatever I want. It's more just like I don't want to put my time into something that isn't in line with my values and isn't, a great script or has a commentary that's really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or just really fun with a great group of people. But I have no time for violence or sexist crap.
No, I'm with you there.
Yeah. I don't know how that's going to come across on the page, but I hope that's okay.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, if I was acting, I would be very, very picky choosy, I think, because I have very, very high morals.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what it is. You have high morals. You're not just some snob or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
On a quick sidebar, if it's interesting to you at all, just because you are in England, my grandparents are British, and they were Lord and Lady.
Wow.
Yes, so technically I'm honorable, but I don't really know what that means.
That means you're high enough commoners.
Well, that doesn't really mean anything here. I just think it's kind of cool to have an extra title.
Yeah, well, why not? You should add it to your name.
The Honorable Sarah Edmondson? Sure, I might.
Lady.
Lady Edmondson. No, it's okay. I'll pass.
Angie would like to know, do you have any fond memories from working on Are You Afraid of the Dark? She really enjoyed that show.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, Are You Afraid of the Dark is really where, like, those two, I did 2 episodes of that, and both of them were like one of my first gigs. So I really learned how to act on those shows. My initial credits, that, and there's another show, Mystery Files of Shelby Woo and Student Bodies. Those are all my first credits. I was really just learning how to use the camera, how to hit my marks. It was like acting class. But Are You Afraid of the Dark was great. The first one was super fun because I played Hayden Christensen's girlfriend. Yeah, and this before he was Darth Vader, and he was just, yeah, but he was just a sweet kid, still is, I'm sure. And we had a great time together. We got to shoot. We got to travel to outside of Quebec and stay in this little sugar town and maple syrup town or something. And that was, I guess, my fondest memory from that was the director giving me a direction. I was at one point I get possessed by like a monster or something, or like a spirit, and she said something to me like, louder, more evil, scarier, bigger, or something. And it was like it was the most obscure kind of crazy direction. I was like, thank God I went to theater school and I could translate that somehow, and that was fun. And then the second one I did, it was an even better role, and I played this girl who gets invited to a modeling school where the teacher of the modeling school is a witch who basically takes the faces of these young girls. So that was probably one of the most complex roles I've ever played, because I played myself, and then I played the witch because the witch had my face. So I was playing myself opposite myself, but two different characters with the same face.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was a really challenging experience, because I was in every scene and I was in every shot, because I'd play myself and then I'd a body double and I'd get into my other role, and it goes back and forth between two roles. So
you were in Stargate SG-1,
yes.
season 6, episode Prophecy. Mm-hmm. Stargate is this amazing legacy, and it has a huge fandom. So the question that they want to know is what it was like working on the show and alongside the legend that is Richard Dean Anderson.
That was a great project. That was another one of my first big gigs in Vancouver. I moved back from Montreal to Vancouver, and he totally, yes, he's definitely a legend. Mm-hmm. Especially from MacGyver, right?
Yes.
You know, that was how I knew him first, and that was really exciting. I had one sort of emotional scene with him, and unfortunately, there was some reason, like he wasn't feeling well or something, and I had to do my scene with him with his body double. And like my close-up, and not only was his body double wasn't available, so it was his body double's brother or something. So it was a kind of surreal experience of like wanting to connect and not having him there. And but he was there for all the other scenes, of course, and we had a great time. That was actually the moment, the play that I did that TV show at the same time I was doing a play, and that was one of the last plays that I did, partly because I did 3 months of rehearsal, 19 shows, and made like $120. And, then did Stargate at the same time. And I don't remember the exact amount, but a large chunk of money in 3 days. And I thought, how can I do this? And I started to pursue film and television more seriously. I still love theater, but it doesn't always pay the bills. So
maybe you should come over here and do pantomime. Apparently that's pretty good money.
Pantomime, okay. Well, I do have my British passport, so I could come over there and work.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant to get in one of the big pantomimes.
Fantastic.
Maybe you could introduce it back home.
We do have pantomimes here, but they're not super big. They're like, people go to them on Christmas Day.
Yeah, they're kind of a big epic thing over here, aren't they?
Yeah. My dad, the now Lord Sanford, takes us to pantomimes.
You've had a really successful career being a voiceover artist as well. Animations like Geronimo Stilton and Transformers Cybertron. How is it different between being a voiceover artist and an actress on a TV show?
I think the main difference is that you can walk into a voice studio in your pajamas, or pregnant, or nursing. I mean, there's no physical challenges. It's really, there's a lot of similarities in terms of it's really fun. It's all about your expression, about being an artist. there's some people in voiceover that are just in voiceover, and there's some people that are, the crossover like I do, and I like that. I like to be able to do both. If I, let's see, what can I tell you about the differences? Um, I don't know. I love my voiceover career. It's so fun. Every time I work, I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. I can't believe how lucky I am.
Oh, how else could you
I
be a
mean,
mouse?
how else could I be a mouse? I know. I love mice.
You
Remember, I used to
played
collect
a
mice.
broad spectrum of characters. What is your favourite type to play?
I think I have two. I think I really love playing roles that are close to myself, where I can just be myself in different situations and be fun and express. Um, I also really love roles that are diverse and very different than me. Like the role I played in A Gun to the Head. I play somebody who's I play a psychopath essentially, and to try that on and step into that and like what it would take to be the kind of person who didn't care about other people was hard, but it was also really cool to have that experience and feel like I have a broader sense of like the bandwidth of humanity. Like, there's parts of me that it's not me, but to imagine what it would be like helps me understand people like that better. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And I love roles that are part of projects that are, and I haven't really yet had a chance to do this. This is why I'm starting to produce more of my own stuff. Is roles that are part of projects that really educate or help people to question themselves or what's going on in the world, conscious shifting media.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
Okay. You co-run a company called Ethical Arts Limited. Could you tell us about that, please?
yeah. Sure. Ethical Arts Limited um, is a center essentially in Vancouver that does a number of things. We're building a production company, but the primary focus right now is that we work with students or participants, I should say, who want to evolve themselves in some way. So people who have very specific goals and see that they have emotional limitations from achieving those goals, and we help them to basically be more joyful and have the success that they want in their lives. And that we use a methodology that I've essentially leased from a school in New York City, or sorry, upstate New York. And that curriculum is the backbone of what we teach there. And it's wonderful. We have a lot of young artists, a lot of young entrepreneurs, and they love it. So, yeah.